Hey guys, for today I decided to make a little tutorial on how I paint water, but make it a little more fun and kinda immediately dive into my water animal concept. So we will be painting two animals today that are somewhat water-like, and you can follow along if you want and create your own water animal. But yeah, meanwhile I'll try to explain my thought process and give you some tips for painting water. What I usually use for painting water is acrylic, but I tend to dilute it a lot for the first layer, so I decided that for this tutorial, to not really make it confusing, to just go with watercolors. And I also, as you saw in the intro, I got Sandy's Paul Rubens watercolors, and it's a really nice set. I think I enjoyed it more than the previous one, but yeah. I think they are having a sale on Amazon from the 7th till the 9th of October, so if you're interested, you can check it out. I will leave the link below. But yeah, let's get into this. So I always start with a light layer for everything. Even the parts that are going to be white have to have some kind of color. And I found the perfect light purple for this piece. And it's interesting to see that it kind of looks dark-ish and not really white, but that's gonna totally change once we start adding more layers to it. So I guess tip number one is to not rely on just one color, especially for the highlights or white areas. They aren't exactly white, and you can play with that. You can make the areas that you want more focus on brighter and I guess wider, but the ones that will be further away or where you don't want to add this extra attention, you can make them darker, you can blend them in more with the rest of the water. For the bird, I decided that I will try to have the lightest areas at the head and a little bit for the wings, just to have this fluid emotion that the bird is diving maybe into a water puddle, who knows. It just becomes one with the water puddle, or I don't know where it's diving. And for the second animal that I will do is his little bunny. I decided there to have the most contrast for its paw, so the paw would be white and kind of make the focus go from the paw to seeing his head and everything else. I don't know if it makes sense, but you'll see it later. So water is fluid and it's kind of abstract, so it's important to play with its shapes and forms. We are drawing animals, but we're also drawing the water, and we're trying to combine these two different things together, so kind of an experiment to see how we can achieve this. We have to be loose, the right amount, I guess. I wanted to show with the bird that we can play more with the water aspect, and with the rabbit we can stay quite rigid if we wanted to. But it is important that we just stay loose because that's what water is, I guess. Here I am adding a little bit of a brighter blue just to have some of that oceany kind of vibe. I'm trying to make some nice ripples, adding a little bit more of that extra color since water is not just blue, that's what we always think it is, but we have all those reflections. Here I am going even darker since I decided why not that be the darkest place. I don't know, I tried to make the wing be almost like a wave as well as the tail. I didn't really want the face to be the main point, but I think I went a bit wrong on this because, I don't know, even though I like the wave, I just feel like it's a bit too loose for my liking. The whole piece, there's not really a main point in this one, but I really like still how the face turned out. I love how watercolor just has its own mind, and it helps you form this water effect. Water already has layers, so we need to make layers. Since it kind of takes a lot of forms like waves, still water, ripples, etc. It's just kind of giving us a clue that water is super dynamic and always shifting, so your watercolor technique should also reflect that. So we're just trying to build gradually, allowing the transparency of the watercolors to show through, which kind of mimics how water behaves. And as usual, here I'm just going over with my favorite pencil, if I remember how it's called, since I don't know if I can still see the brand that I got it from, but if I do, I will add it in the description box. But yeah, we are done with the first one. And now we're gonna do the rabbits. I've done a water rabbit before. I will show a picture here. I really like that one, so I didn't want to go very close to it. And I decided that with this one, I will add more colors, more of a yellow tint to it at some places. I didn't want to go too overboard, but yeah. Also, another thing that I usually do is add lots of foam to really sell the water effect for my animals, but there is kind of a structure to go about it. Typically, the foam closer to the surface is more detailed, lighter, and the bubbles would be also smaller, so you can add lots of little details, and as the foam blends back into the water, it fades and becomes more subtle. It also creates bigger ripples and it slowly dies out. So yeah, I would just recommend studying references to see how the water reacts, see how the water interacts with light and the foam, but also try interpreting those visuals in your own style. With water, you can't really go wrong by doing it in your way, so experiment and just try to find what works for you. Here I'm gonna add some greens just to start shifting towards like a yellow tint, since I want the tail to be a little bit more colorful than its head, I guess, and I want the belly to be really dark and add some stars, some speckles in there. I don't know, I was trying to create this cool abstract-ish kind of vibe here. I guess this isn't really a full-on tutorial for water. I didn't really want to make one because you can definitely find some really nice ones out there on the internet. I wanted this to be more of a follow along with me. I guess with water, the most important part is just to have lots of layers, build it up. This allows you to see already how you want to do it, where you want to have your values, how they're gonna work, and you don't really have to stress about it since the layers are so light and transparent. Anyways, yeah, lots of layers. As you can see, I'm not putting here the darkest color yet. I'm just putting another blue color here to see if I want the belly to be the darkest place. And this just allows me the freedom to see, I guess, that yeah, I want this to be the darkest place, but I'm not gonna have the issue of, oh no, now I can't really go back, because since it's not too light, I can make the other places darker and just go along with it. I feel like with watercolor, your piece will always be changing, so you could stop here if you like more light kind of pieces. I did not, since I still wanted that yellow kind of tint on the tail. I love experimenting and finding different ways on how I can twist the water to look nice with any animal, and it can also turn into kind of a story. I've had pieces that feel more playful or more sad depending on the way of how I painted the water. I don't know if any of this was useful, but I really hope at least that it was fun to look at. And if you made it this far, let me know what should be my next piece. Or if you really want to influence the type of art I paint, you can check out my Patreon. But other than that, I wish you a fun week and I'll see you next time. Bye!